Hello there and welcome back to Car Mechanic Simulator. Yes, we're back on here once again. Going to be continuing where we left off last time, which I don't remember all what we did last time. I know we worked on a Plymouth Hemi-Cuda and, you know, some other really cool cars and stuff like that. And we also had to make up for some cash that we lost to finish one of the story jobs, which was insanely expensive and difficult. But we did manage to get her done and whatnot. You know, just playing this game as as a former car mechanic actually is a lot of fun. So without further wasting your time, let's go ahead and get on into it. Let's go. Alrighty then, and here we are. Let's check here. Yep, okay. So what were we doing? I know we got this area unlocked as well, which we can start we can start adding our stuff to it eventually once we have enough money. We have 18 grand in the bank. That's not too bad. We have one skill point available. Okay, well, looks like we need to do some more jobs. All right, what do we got here? We got an FMW, which is basically a BMW. This is a BMW M3-ish. I don't know. I don't know the BMWs too well, so you got that Mayhem M3, which is basically an Audi RS3. That's why it's M3. This is RS3 here. Then we got the Plymouth Roadrunner again that we can work on. We got a Chrysler Cordoba. I don't think I've ever seen one of those, ever. That must be a rare car. Then we got the Ecos Cobra, which is basically a Dodge Viper. And then like the Morena Ferrazone, which is basically a Lamborghini. What is that? Lamborghini, man, I don't even know those all too well either. Yeah, that's one of those, the Lamborghini that everybody gets, basically. When you think Lamborghini, you basically think of this. This is DLC. I'm surprised it's, I guess they couldn't get the name for it. Which is understandable. Like, they got Plymouth Roadrunner and stuff like that, but the 426 hemispherical engine. It's that big engine. Anyway, let's go over here to our BMW. Maybe it's like I said, I don't know the BMWs too well. Maybe it's M1. But I do know that that's definitely a BMW there. That's a very iconic shape. Okay, so we can read what they got here. So, hey, hi, so, yeah, hey, yeah, I borrowed the car from my dad. It's like an awkward teen, you know. Oh boy. He kind of doesn't know about it. Oh, that's bad. Because he's on a business trip. And you see, it happened that I was driving home at night and something jumped out in front of the car. I was driving very slowly. BS. I call BS on that. I really was. You just got that face like, I'm stroking my beard. So, what really happened? I didn't manage to brake, yeah, because you're driving too fast. And you can see the results of that in front of you. The car was thrown around a bit, but it cannot be that bad, can it? Please do what you have to do to cover up my tracks, or cover up the tracks. My father will hate me if he realizes that I messed around with his gem. It's his beloved car. Please make it quick. What is this, a rare BMW? I don't know. Oops. Hold on. Before I take that job, I want to see what the paint shop costs. Paint shop. 15 grand. Let's do it. Do it. $15,000 down the drain. We got enough money. I always like to get all like the add-ons and stuff to the shop before I let's go take a look. Before I start buying cars and stuff like that, because eventually what we're going to start doing is we're going to start buying cars that are like from the junkyard and stuff, and then start repairing them and then selling them basically. And we can make a huge profit on that, but it does take a while when you got like very little money. Yeah, looks like, yep, got our paint shop right here. Ah, big doors. Very big doors. Makes sense. Okay. Yeah, we got our paint shop right here so we can paint the car. And the reason I've done that is because that story mission makes sense that we would paint the car back to its original color. And what I wanted to do was I wanted to get the paint shop before I took the job. And because of that, now when I take that job, it's going to tell me to paint the car. Or at least I hope it'll tell me to paint the car. You see my logic behind that. That's why I bought the shop first before taking the job. Now we're not going to be able to finish the job right away. It's not going to happen. There's no way we can do that off of $3,000. We might have to take a few other little jobs too. So let's go ahead and take this order. And we're going to see what the car's condition is. Oh my gosh, what happened? Why is it got different colored panels? All right, car status. Let's see. The story order. Okay, so repair and replace the body parts. Yeah, see, spray it with the factory paint. You would not get this if you did not have the paint shop. We will also start getting jobs now that require us to paint. Yeah, we're gonna take this in, or we're gonna move this over to car entrance C. Just kind of let it sit over there for now, because we're gonna need to take other jobs in order to be able to make enough money to be able to pay for that job. And I don't want to be right in the middle of the job while I don't have any money. We've already been through that experience, and I've done it many, many times. It's not fun. We got a Bolt Ranger. What is that? Is that a Yukon? I actually don't know. The SUVs are definitely... to me, SUVs all look the freaking same damn near anymore. It's like so many SUVs look so similar, you know? It's really hard to tell. But we got an old GMC van. Yeah, we'll take that. Let's work on that. Let's work on this old-fashioned GMC van. Probably gonna have a V8 in it. Oh, definitely. Especially... What the hell have they done to it? Oh my gosh, they turned it into a dragster. Look at this thing. Yeah, the rear tires are like wide. Yeah, that looks like I think you can buy parts like that for the GMC van. I don't remember the actual name of the freaking van for some reason. I do know it's GMC though. it's obvious. Yeah, got a nice old Chevy. That dual carb. Yeah, sure is. Dual carb V8, not bad. Old-fashioned push-rod engine. Manual transmission, which more than likely it is. Being this old, it's going to be manual transmission. Yeah, nice, beautiful engine. Of course, this van's not going to get up and go too crazily. The tires looked wider, but I guess that's just the way they look. All right, let's go ahead and move this car over to the car wash. Over to the car wash, baby. Okay. No, I don't want to detail the interior. We're not working on the interior. As with most jobs, if you're working in an automotive shop, the one thing you're going to want to do to a dirty car is clean it before you work on it, because you don't want to be working in the nastiness. I mean, sometimes it's nasty on the inside too, and you're just like, I don't even want to touch this thing, you know? It's like, where has this vehicle been? You know what? Don't tell me. I don't want to know. Do not want to know. All right. Let's get her up on the lift. Now, this van, this lift, I don't know the capacity of this lift, but I don't know if it'd be strong enough to hold up this van. But if it was, even if it was strong enough to hold up this van, I would definitely want to add an extra support, because this van, it may be a van, you know, big, but it's also going to be like extremely heavy, especially on the front end. I mean, there's like, compared to the back end, this front end's going to be very, very heavy. So it's like, I might want to add some extra supports for that. This van is just so large and bulky and heavy. It's safer. Car status. What are we looking at, by the way? Oh, I just took on a big job. Oh no. Fix and repair all the engine problems. Okay, well, looks like we're tearing the engine out of this bad boy. Let's do it. All right, let's go ahead and drain the oil, of course. Had fresh oil in it. Yeah, I am not tearing apart the engine inside the... In real life, yes, absolutely, I would not be doing that. I mean, do you see how much freaking room is underneath this hood. I've actually worked on a GMC van that was very similar to this, old and similar, and yeah, there's almost like, yeah, you do have a lot of room up front here, but half the engine is buried behind the firewall, and it's extremely hard to work on. I know that some vans had like a inside here. Oh, you can't open the door anymore. Inside they had like a removable cover so that you can work on the engine, but some vans don't. It's just such a pain. Yeah, and pulling the engine out of here is, I believe you have to pull off the whole entire front end. I never actually removed the engine out of that van, but yeah, I had to work on it, and I regretted it. It may be old and it may be bulky and less electronics, but it's still a pain in the butt to work on. Let's go ahead and yank that engine out of there. Oh, well, of course. You know, I want to pull the whole drive shaft with it too. I forgot. Look, I just woke up, okay? I just woke up. Alright, gotta take off our starter. I'll move to the drive line, which actually in real life you would probably be doing that. I would probably take off the starter as well, because it'd be easier to. A lot of the times the starter, I don't know why this game does it, but it puts all of the starters on the transmission, like on this side, when in reality most American vehicles had the starter on the bottom side of the block. Like you see the transmission here. The block would have a bit that sticks out of it, that the starter would bolt to, and then the starter goes inside the transmission casing. From there, there's like there's a part of the block that's actually been the cast of it makes it look like it's been like cut out for the starter to fit in that spot to then go inside the transmission casing, or inside the transmission bell housing. At least a lot of like Chevys and stuff did. You don't want to know what Ford did. Was it Ford or was it Dodge? I think it was Ford. I think it was either Ford or Dodge. Somebody can correct me on that. Oh, by the way, people, you can correct me in the comment section if I get any information wrong. I'm more than happy to have that. Because I'd rather have the correct, sometimes I forget stuff or I don't explain it properly or whatever and it makes it sound wrong. I don't know why I removed that, to be honest, but whatever. I'd rather have the correct information out there than me saying it's correct and it's not correct. Or me not explaining it properly, whatever. That's just the way it is. But yeah, the reason that the starter goes into the bell housing in the first place, because you see all the teeth on this this flywheel hill. The starter solenoid kicks out a little gear, and that gear interlocks in with this, and then turns the engine via battery power. Essentially, turns the engine. Yeah, the most amount of voltage that you need during the operation of a car is during the starting operation, really. Because nothing's running, so you need all the power. you need your cranking amps in order to get that vehicle started. And the older the vehicle, the harder it is to start. Like the more robust the starters had to be. Just because it's heavier parts, and now everything's made out of lighter metals, and the engines are a lot easier to turn over. Okay. Oh yeah, we got to drain the coolant. Additional tools, drain that coolant. Everything's rusty on this, so we're not going to know what's wrong with this damn thing. All right, we got our coolant drained, our oil drained, everything's disconnected. We should be able to... The front exhaust section. What? You're telling me I got to remove the headers too? Oh, come on. That's a bunch of bull crap. Pull it out like it is, man. You can totally pull that out. Oh. Is there not another bolt? There should be 2 bolts on each of these. No, I guess not on that one. Oh, we wanted that section. I see. I don't know why I thought that was one piece there. Okay. Well, that's fine. We need to take those off anyway. Back up. they're usually not two pieces. Usually it's one piece until it gets past the engine block, and then it goes to two pieces, and then it goes to the next section. There. Now you happy? Can I pull the engine out now? Please. I'm going right into an engine rebuild. You gotta be kidding me. I have to remove these then. Why? Totally pull that out. But yeah, on a van like this, I do believe you gotta remove the front end. At least just the amount of room you would have to pull this whole front section apart. So once you got the engine free, you basically pull the engine out forward instead of up, like traditional engine pull. Actually, I should remove the front exhaust section. What? Did I seriously not remove that? Okay. Never mind. So you can leave the headers on. You just need to remove these extra pipes, which make no sense. I also like how this is not bolted to anything. It should be bolted to stuff. They wanted that removed. That's what I wanted. I swear. I'm gonna Alt F4. There we go. Jeez. Freaking, you know. Try an engine. But yeah, we got the whole engine in our pocket. Now we're going to install it onto the stand. Look at this beauty. All right, let's start taking her apart. Usually I'll start with let's get that fan. I actually probably would have pulled the fan off in the serpentine belt and stuff like that so it doesn't get damaged in the removal process. These fans are actually, you can actually bend these pretty easy, and them being bent is not good. They don't. They'd be a little bent, but yeah, you probably don't want them. You don't want them bent very much. Yeah, remove those two belts. So yeah, this one right here, this one actually is kind of correct in that this would be a V belt style, not a serpentine belt like it was. But what you would have is on this portion right here that the alternator's sitting on, you can see like this this bracket. See how this bracket is shaped like that, like it is like right there? That's not just to hold the alternator in place. This bolt right here, you would loosen this bolt, and then what that would do is it allowed the alternator to actually pivot off of this pivoting after this bolt here. And what it'd do is it'd pivot to the inside. It would pivot into the inside, and then it would slack out the V belt, or at least the one V belt. It would slack off that belt so that you could pull the belt off. And then when you go to put it back, what you would do is you would take a screwdriver or a pry bar and stick it in between here, and what your belt is on, and then you pry the alternator this way to the right, and then once you got the desired tightness on the belt, you don't want to go too tight, too loose, especially in a V belt. They'll squeal if they're not the correct tension. But yeah, once you got the desired tightness, then you would, while you're holding that, then you tighten up this bolt, or tighten up the nut on the back side, and then that would lock it in place. And that's how you used to do it back in the day. A lot of vehicles were either the alternator or the power steering pump, or if it had an AC compressor. Any one of those would be used to tighten up the belts. Even serpentine belts. Some cars that had serpentine belts would also do that as well. But then they came up with the basically the tensioner. So as the belt gets older and it gets more slack, that tensioner, it's spring loaded, so that tensioner would keep the same amount of tension on the serpentine belt as the belt wore out over time, which was a great invention, because yeah, over time them V-belts, they wear out and you have to go out there and give it a little tighten every so often. So yeah, basically the automatic tensioner was a pretty good solution to that. And our air filter, our base, and then our two freaking carburetors. And what was the year? Like 80 something? So yeah, this beats straight carburetor. I believe it wasn't until like the late 80s, was it? The late 80s when they came up with the TBI system. Basically, rather than just dumping fuel into the carburetors via a manual pump, they had a computer and a little bit electronic, basically spray nozzle that would spray the fuel into the carburetor, and that's why they call it. It's basically a throttle body, but it wasn't fuel injection, but it was at the same time, because technically it is fuel injection. It's fuel injection into the carburetor. So they called it TBI, which is throttle body injection. So, you know, I'm surprised that you have to pull the cap off in order to pull this out. I guess that's just how the game works, but I'd rather be that more accurate. If I was to pull this out, I'd just pull it out with the cap on it. Because I'm tearing apart the entire engine anyway, I'm going to have to I'm going to have to set the timing on the engine no matter what anyway. And depending, well, this is a GMC, so it's going to be, you know, basically Chevy style. So on the Chevys, or on these engines, the GMs, you had two different ways that you could put the distributor inside the engine. You're either dead on or 180 degrees off. And you always knew you're 180 degrees off when you're trying to start the engine, and it's basically spitting fuel back up out of the carburetor. You gotta be careful with that too, because that can start a fire. So you definitely want to make sure that you're dead set on, or you're set on there, not 180 degrees off. As we take out these ones right here, I actually have a set of boards, or a set of 4x6s boards. Essentially, they're 4x6 boards, and I have them specifically cut out or drilled out with holes and stuff like that for all the different parts of the timing system, basically. So you've got the rockers, which that's a rocker right there, so I just took a rocker off. You've got the lifting rod, and then you got the lifters, which are going to be underneath the intake here. And I have boards like made specifically for that, so that I can put them back if I'm not replacing them. So I can put them back exactly where they were inside the engine. And this is because over time, what happens is these metal surfaces that are basically just sitting on each other, and lubricated by oil, they eventually wear to a point where they wear together. And in order not to cause abnormal wear, you want to put them back exactly where they were. So this is basically cylinder 8. So cylinder 8, and this is the exhaust valve right here on the very end. We want to put this rocker and this lifter and the lifting rod all in the exact same place on that cylinder. You don't want to take this one and put it up here, for example. Like I said, just because everything wears together, and it wears on the camshaft as well. So you want that, like I said, if you're not replacing the parts, if the parts are good, you're just doing a fresh rebuild or whatever, and you're not replacing those specific parts. You want them exactly where they were inside the engine. Now, obviously, if you're replacing the parts, it doesn't freaking matter at all. But yeah, I have that specifically set up, like boards and everything specifically set up. So I put the rods in their slots, and then I put the rocker, slide the rocker on it. So it's exactly where it's at. Okay, so once we got all those out of there, gonna take off our intake. This is basically how we rebuild an engine here. This is actually pretty close to the actual process. And you see these little circle bits that are sitting in here? These are actual lifters. I don't think you can take these off, can you? No, you can't take these out. But yeah, these are lifters. So these lifting rods, you can see the camshaft sticking up through the holes there. That camshaft has lobes on it, and those lobes would push up on these lifters. And if we go to port mount, let's go and put this back in for a second. Okay, then part unmount. See that you got the lifter down here, so the camshaft pushes up on the lifter pushes up, which pushes up on this rod, and this rod pushes up on this rocker, pivots the rocker to where the back end pushes down on this spring back here, which opens up the valve. That's basically how that works. So that's the basic, very, very basic stuff. But yeah, these lifters usually, they come out of the engine. And they usually, they got little springs in them to, take the load as it's going. And it's all perfectly timed and everything like that, so that the valves open at the correct times and the pistons come up at the correct times and everything, so that nothing ever touches, basically. Because those parts come in such close contact that if it's slightly mistimed, you end up with bent parts, broken parts, all kinds of stuff. Because as fast as these engines are going, it's a pretty bad day if anything was to go wrong. And there's a lot more bolts to the head here. I can't remember exactly how many. I always forget the damn count of the bolts, but there's 18 or something like that bolts, and it's all, you have to, when you're putting the heads back on, you have to follow a very specific tightening procedure, otherwise you warp the head. It's pretty crazy. Here, we'll take that off, we don't need that on. And now that we've got the heads removed, you can see the piston. You can see the piston heads sticking up. And you see they're all in different positions. This is just because of the crankshaft at the bottom. So what I'm also going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take off this front cover, which is the timing cover, which is basically just keeps the crankshaft and the camshaft in time perfectly. Because the crankshaft controls the pistons and the camshaft controls the lifters and the lifting rods and the valves. And it basically tells the valves pushes the valves exactly when to open. And yeah, the crankshaft turns. And I wish you could actually turn the engine. Like if you could like pull out a tool and you can actually turn the engine so you can see it actually working, so you could demonstrate that. That'd be pretty cool. We take off our chain. Basically the way that would work is you take off the bolt here, and then as you're sliding that out, the chain would then come with it. It depends on how slack the chain is, I guess. But yeah, then we can go ahead and we're going to leave that in there. We'll do this like real life, I guess. We got that pulled off there. Then we'll turn the engine upside down. So then we can go ahead and pull off the... Now, you would have put a pan underneath your underneath there, because this thing is going to be full of oil and nastiness, usually, especially if it's old. And all that's going to be dripping onto the floor if you don't have a catch pan to catch all that nastiness dripping out. But yeah, then we're going to go ahead and take off our caps. Now, like I said before, these ones are all going to be, you want to put these exactly back in the same spots they were. Usually you'll get a, you'll get like a kit. It depends on if you have a kit or if you have just a punch. And what you're going to do is on both of these, on the piston side and on the cap side, you're going to put dots. Basically, if you only have a little punch, you're going to put little dots. And what you're going to do is you're going to take that, you're going to take a hammer, like a dead blow, or maybe not a dead blow, maybe just a regular hammer. But so that one we would have put one dot on both of those. This one we're going to put two, or actually, this one would be two. This one would be, or no, this one would be one. This engine's incorrect. Yeah, one is the farthest forward cylinder. And when you flip it over, yeah, this engine's incorrect. I just noticed that. It's incorrect. Well, it's incorrect for this type of engine. This cylinder should be further back, and this cylinder should be further forward. The furthest forward cylinder is always number one. So, I think it's incorrect anyway. I'm pretty sure it is. But yeah, this one we would put, two dots, because this is cylinder number 2. Let me go ahead and... You want to take a dead blow and kind of tap those out. They're going to be fitting tightly in there. They're not going to just slide out. So. Yeah, this one is, so what you do is you take like a usually these would be studs rather than bolts. You're gonna put like I take like a rubber hose, and I chop it up into little pieces, and I put that over the threads. That's because I don't want to mess up. You don't want to ding up this this shiny surface here. Yeah. So yeah, you put those. You slide them over the studs that are sitting on there, and then what you can do is tap on those studs. I make them long enough so I could do that, and then I just tap on those plastic tubings that pushes the piston out of the engine. And then, yeah, so that one would be marked 3. This one would be marked 4. And this is so you can get the caps exactly matched back up with the piston that they go with in the correct cylinder. And then same with these caps here, these caps that are on the crankshaft. Usually there's 5. So you up here there's going to be 1. So you're going to put 1 dot, 2 dots, 3 dots, 4 dots, and 5 dots. And it depends on kind of the... I bought a... what, did I buy it? Or somebody else might have. I don't remember. It's been so long ago since I still have that. No, I don't have that kit. No, that was his kit. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that was a friend's kit. He had a punch set that had numbers on it, which is actually quite handy. So when you hit the punch onto the metal, it would stamp in, and basically it would stamp in the number. I don't know why I take those caps off, by the way. Oops. Sorry, I got distracted. It's okay. It's fine. Not that big of a deal. I would definitely leave those main caps on until you got the pistons out, though. That way you have a nice solid... That way everything's nice and solid. Yeah, I can't believe I've never noticed that in this game before. Hundreds of hours, and I've never noticed that the number 1 cylinder is not the one farthest forward on this engine. Which is very strange. Very strange for me to see that. But then, yeah, then we take off our main caps, and then we can go ahead and pull out our crankshaft. And now that the crankshaft is removed, we can remove our cam. And the reason you want to wait until you get that out to remove the cam is because the cam has got bearings inside of here. You can actually kind of see it. See how this bigger portion is in this part of the block there? There's actually a bearing in there. Well, not what they call a bearing. It's just a rounded piece of metal, essentially. Soft piece of metal, so it acts like a bearing. Or acts like a surface for it to spin on, essentially. But yeah, then you're going to slide this out. And you're going to be very, very careful. You want to grab the camshaft into 2 different places as you slide it out through each hole. And you might have to give it a few taps to get it through each one of those because it's going to be tightly fitting. I mean, if it's old, it's probably not going to be too much of an issue. But then you can take out your camshaft. As you can see, you can actually see the lifters are still in here. The lifters are still in there. But normally those lifters would have come out of the engine. Okay. Oh, we should probably take off the block too, I bet. Alright. So now we can go ahead and see in our inventory what's all bad. And see what... let's go over the car status and see what it wants us to replace. I'm gonna guess it wants us to replace the stuff that's at 41%, but I'm not 100% sure. So, ignition wires. So this is be the most obvious one. So, oh, carburetor B. That'll be the most obvious one. Oh, okay. So carburetor B. Where's carburetor? There it is. Okay, so it wants us to replace just the red ones. All right. It depends on the mission on what it wants replaced. Okay, so anything that's in red. Gotcha. Okay, so new timing. New oil filter, of course. I'm going to buy all of these because in real life, you more than likely would, if you're going to replace them, unless they're, you know, pretty decent parts. If it's a very old engine, if you're going to replace one, you might as well replace them all. Just get a kit or a set, because if one is bad, that usually means that all of them are going to go bad if they haven't started to already. Same with the spark plugs. Just get a full set of them. I don't think you'll lose money on this doing this in the game, but yeah, And like I said, unless they're really decent parts, like really nice, you're not going to replace just the one usually. So we're going to do this. We're going to do this. We're going to do this. Okay, and that as well. They don't want to replace the fuel filter, apparently. Okay. So ignition wires, carburetor B, water pump, exhaust manifold B. Is that the same? Okay. I don't know which one's which, so we'll get two. We'll just get a set of those, I guess. Okay. Cool. All right, parts. So, yeah, one of those. Oops, only one of those. One of those. And 16 of these. And the reason there's 16 is because there's 8 cylinders and there's 2 of these per cylinder, so that would be 16. Same with these. And these are super cheap. I mean, you're not going to go broke. 64 bucks. I really wish that was in real life. Holy crap. No, a set of like rockers and lifters and rods and stuff, you're going to be in the hundreds, just for standard OEM parts. Okay. So one of those. One of those. And I'm sorry if I'm explaining way too much. I love I nerd out on the engines in this game. I really do. if you couldn't tell. Okay. 8 of those. I have an auto clicker, so I can just makes it super easy. Oops. No, not that. This. Yep. Giving the engine a tune-up as well while we're at it. I'm pretty sure. Let me check. So 1, 2, 3 pistons. I didn't buy any pistons. And a power steering pump. Alright, let's see. 3 pistons. Which pistons are bad? Yeah, there's no red pistons, are they? Okay. Alright, we'll just do that then. Okay. So what you're telling me is, barring the piston rings, you want, do you want a new engine block too? You just want a new engine? Can you, I never did think about that in this game. I don't remember. Could you buy full engines? Add-ons. No, I don't think you can buy full engines. That would be cool though. I'd rather do that. I'd just be like, nope, this engine's trash. Just give me a new engine so I can just throw it in. Okay. Alright, so then what we're going to do, this is a full rebuild essentially. So, type in that. Now theirs is the standard piston. No, it's the B. Okay, some of these, so some pistons will have a flat top and some pistons will have this kind of top, like it's got this little extra bit. It's very weirdly shaped. And then some pistons will have like little divots where the valves basically almost touch, and it'll have little divots to give room for that, which is pretty cool. Piston rings, what are the piston rings? They're B as well. Okay, so this one, there's 8 pistons, so 8 of those, and then the piston B, or the rings B, brand new set of rings. Let's do caps as well. Actually, this would probably be easier to do. Do that. Oops. So rod caps. And we'd also be buying brand new bearings with all this too. Now the caps we probably wouldn't replace, and the pistons we probably wouldn't replace, because out of an old engine like this, they would last for damn near ever. I mean, if the engine's taken care of, I would say a set of pistons could probably last 2 or 3 rebuilds before you would probably want to think about replacing those. Depends on the quality of the part, but also depends on how you take care of the engine too. If it's really well taken care of, and you never like hot rod the engine, you don't put it through a bunch of stress or anything like that. It's just a daily driver. Constant kept up with oil changes, never overheated. That's very rare, by the way. Oh yeah, I wanted to see, did they want a new engine block? Engine head cover B, rocker arms, spark plugs, valve push rod. Okay. Cam gear, timing chain, water pump, and water pump pulley. Oh, they want a water pump too. Okay. Easy enough. Might as well give them a brand new engine at this point, and I'll still make money. But I am running out of cash, so we might have to move this out. Yeah, they wanted a... Let's see, where's the water pump? Water pump, water pump, water pump. Water pump, where are you? I'm looking for it. There it is. Let's go ahead and sort by condition. Did they want a power steering pump? I mean, if they wanted the water pump and they wanted this, they don't want both carburetors replaced, right? I'm tempted to just give them a brand new engine at this point because there's so much that is wrong. And we still need to do body parts too. Yeah, I'm tempted just to give them a brand new engine. At this point, we might as well just, yeah, and in real life, if everything's that damaged and it's just so wore out, it might be cheaper to just say, hey, tell the customer, just say, hey, look, we can rebuild the engine, but it's going to be cheaper if we just go get a used engine that's got a warranty. We can go get a used engine. We can also just buy a brand new crate engine. It'd probably be cheaper to do that too. Just a brand new, what I mean crate engine, it's basically an engine fully assembled, ready to go in a crate. All you got to do is add fluids, hook it up, and it's ready to start and run because it's already been through the usually it's already been through the break-in process and all that stuff. So I say usually, it depends on where you buy it from. Yeah, just a brand new crate engine. But yeah, we are definitely out of money, so what I'm probably gonna do is move this car. We can move it to B, and let's go get ourselves another job and see if we can make up for the cash so we can put together a brand new engine for him, essentially. All right, it's been a few hours actually. I had to do a decent amount of jobs, including a Porsche that needed damn near every freaking panel replaced on it. So I had to spend, I think I had to spend around $10,000 just getting all the freaking parts I wanted, which led to me doing other jobs to try and make up for that. It was a mess. But hey, we finally got it, and we are level 15, by the way. We should probably get some level ups. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that one. Yeah, we don't even have a workbench to be able to repair parts, and we're getting all the upgrades. It's fine. But yeah, and I have completely I don't have all the parts for this engine, but we'll see what we're missing here. So the first things first, of course, we're just going to assemble the engine in reverse order. First things first, of course, is the camshaft. Now, you would have put brand new bearings in here with the brand new camshaft. In most cases, because the bearings would have been worn out. So we put the brand new bearings in with the bearing driver. It's a special tool that drives in your bearings. Basically, you drive in the rear bearing first, and then this one, and then this one. And then you go ahead and lube up your camshaft with your break-in engine lube for the parts. Basically it keeps everything lubricated until the engine oil for the brand new engine can get the oil everywhere, because it does take a second because everything's completely dry and clean. So unlike when you do an oil change where the entire engine is still filled with oil in all the different various places for a long time, we're brand new and dry, so we're gonna have to put break-in lube on it. And then same thing with this portion here. Obviously, rather than 3, you're gonna have 5 caps like we talked about before. You're gonna put your bearings in the engine block, you're gonna lubricate them, and then you're going to lubricate your crankshaft here with your break-in lube. And of course you're going to put your crankshaft in, and then you're going to put your bearings inside your caps here. So these caps you're going to put there's way too many of these. Whoops. I'm gonna lose money on this job. I had bought 8 of these rather than 8 of the whatever. Okay, so yeah, you're gonna put your bearing inside of these with gloves. Of course, you do not want to put your fingerprints on the bearings, because that reacts. The oils of your fingers react with the bearing surface itself and can cause pre-wear. So you have to put these in with rubber gloves on. But you're going to put your bearing in here, and then you're going to lubricate it. Then go ahead and put your caps on, bolt them down. You're going to follow your torque specs, of course. You're going to have... Now, me personally, I have a book that is a step-by-step process of re-putting the average engine, depending on the vehicle, but put the engine back together with all the torque specs and everything like that, so that I don't miss a step or anything. I don't have to remember every single tiny piece of information. But yeah, then we're going to go ahead and put those in. Now, when it comes to the pistons, we're going to put the like you have here, you're going to put your rings on your pistons, and then what you're going to do is you're going to lubricate up the cylinder walls, and even the I would even do the piston rings themselves. You soak the piston ring in oil, in fresh engine oil, and then you put it on your piston. As well as what I generally did was I took a rag, not a rag, sorry, like a microfiber cloth or whatever, and soak that in oil, like a microfiber paper towel, essentially, that I can throw away, in fresh engine oil, and then I went ahead and lubricated up, or basically wiped the walls down of the cylinders. Now the cylinders, sometimes now I don't do cross hatching because I could afford the tools for it, but usually in a engine shop they would cross hatch it, basically this tool on the end of a drill, and then they run it down in, and it just cross hatches the or puts basically these grooves, essentially these really light grooves inside the pistons, or inside their inside the piston walls. But yeah, then you can go ahead and put these back together. Now you would have had all these labeled, as well as when you put your brand new piston in, obviously that's going to have a bearing inside the one half, and that's going to get lubricated, and then you're going to put a bearing inside this half and lubricate that as well, and you're going to bolt it together with the proper bolt specs. Now what I do is I take like the like a rubber handled hammer, and I use the handle itself, and I push the piston in. Obviously you're going to have a ring compressor, and then you're going to push the piston in. You're going to just tap it in, and then once it gets past the ring compressor, it goes into the block. What I do is I get it close, and then I hold this top portion with my hand, with one hand, being very careful not to get my fingers in between there. And then once this is close, then I go ahead and I line this up, and then I shove it in real quick with the handle of the hammer, just kind of jam it in there so they get past the ring compressor into the block before the rings have a chance to expand. So then they're inside the cylinder. Of course, we'll put ours back in. Go ahead and get all of these pistons in there, of course. Lubricating them up as we go. Alrighty, and now that all of our pistons are in, what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this upside down, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that same kind of cloth that I was using to lubricate that up, not leaving any like fibers behind or anything. I'm going to take the same dry, microfiber paper towel, essentially, and I'm going to go ahead and wipe out those cylinders now, because they're going to have oil in them. I'm going to go ahead and wipe out those cylinders so that they're, not soaking in oil, because if you leave that stuff in there, at least in my opinion, if you leave that in there, what'll happen when you go to start it up, it's going to burn a bunch of oil and it's going to smoke and just be nasty once the engine starts going. So it's like, yeah, we'll just clean out the cylinders on top, of course, not on the bottom side. Then we're going to go ahead and put in our let's add that to the shopping list. Like I said, I had to sell a bunch of the parts for everything. I was going to replace it anyway, but I had to sell a bunch of the parts just to be able to afford the it wasn't just the normal like Porsche 911 or anything. It was the Porsche, I don't know how to pronounce it, I'm sorry. It's that really cool looking Porsche, the long, really long Porsche that's like really low to the ground and like kind of like it looks like a Hot Wheels car actually. Like a very cool looking Hot Wheels car is that rear engined. Like I said, I don't know how to pronounce the actual name of it. And I'm not going to try either. I think I've heard it pronounced a few times. I just forget. And then we're going to put our oil pan on with our brand new gasket. Get that all, that way that's all nice and sealed. And I'm going to go ahead, now that our crankshaft's on, you can go ahead and you can get these bolted down just as long as you're able to lock it so it can't turn. And bolt that all together to the crankshaft. I'm not going to put this stuff on, of course. Probably not until the engine's all together. That's okay. We'll put it on now just so that it's out of the way. Like I said, brand new parts. This guy's he's got a brand new crate engine, essentially. Alrighty, and then what I'm going to go ahead and do then is I'm going to go ahead and rotate it because we're done with the bottom side. And we're going to get this lined up. So the crankshaft is going to have a little timing mark on one of these teeth. Now they don't show it here, but it's going to have a little timing mark on one of these teeth. And what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and turn the engine over very carefully and very slowly. You're going to turn that engine over until that timing mark is pointing directly upwards. At least on this engine. Other engines are going to be different, of course. And on this cam gear is also going to be that exact same timing mark. And what you're going to do is you're going to line them up to where this tooth and this tooth, where the two timing marks are pointing perfectly at each other. And then you're going to go ahead and slide this on with the chain. Obviously, you're going to have to put them on together in order to get them lined up perfectly. And then you're going to bolt them in, of course. And then once those are lined up, then we're going to go ahead and put in our brand new gasket for this. And of course, add that to the list. Like I said, I had to sell everything in order to get this done. I really put myself in a bad position here. Oops. Let's take that off the list. I don't know why that's on. Oh, you know what it was? It's because I missed and I added the engine block back on there. And heck, sometimes you'll get a brand new engine, just pieces, and you'll want to put it together. You know, kind of like a PC. It's like I want to put the PC together myself. Then we can go back over here, and should be most of the parts. I don't know what else I'm missing specifically. I should have added them to my list as I was selling them. I really should have. Didn't think about it though. I just wanted to get that damn job done. Because that Porsche, I had to do it in like bits. So I do a few body panels and then go do a bunch of other little jobs to build up the money again, and then do a few more parts and then go back do another few little jobs. Yeah, it was that was a huge mistake on my part. Oh, I bought the wrong water pump. I bought the water pump for this engine block, but it didn't match the engine block. Damn. Yeah, because it was a B, not an F. That's fine. We'll just sell that part. Well, we'll lose money on that, but that's okay. Yeah, there might be a few parts that I bought the wrong one. Put on our brand new gaskets for our water pump. Get our water pump in place. And then I'm going to go ahead and put this together. And now that that's all together, now we're going to go ahead and what I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to rotate this I'm going to rotate this to where this piston, the number one piston, is at the top dead, what they call top dead center, which is basically at the height of its stroke. And hopefully I'm correct. But sometimes, yeah, I'll just rotate it while the pistons are off there, or while the heads are off there. That way, there's no compression or anything to fight against. Yeah, that's that top dead center. I bought the wrong heads too. What heads are these? Holy crap, man! Why are they so different? To the engine block is an F, but the rest of it's not. Oh, there's going to be a B, and I bet there's going to be an A as well. It's going to, because it's stupid. In all actuality, I think the engine heads are the engine heads are going to be more or less the same. Nope. Oh yeah, they were different. Okay. Yeah, they are slightly different on both sides, which, you know, is a thing. And of course, putting our brand new head gasket on, following our torque pattern so we don't warp the head. Then go ahead and putting this one on, doing the same thing. That way the engine is now sealed for the most part. I mean, obviously, what I would also do, what I'd also recommend is once the heads are on, I'm going to put paper towels or something to block up these holes, to block up all of these holes, because if you drop anything in these intakes or inside this these water channels or these coolant channels, you have to take the head back off, and you have to take, that way you can get whatever fell inside there, because if something that falls inside there is going to end up in the intake, or it's going to end up blocking up coolant flow, and then the engine's going to overheat, or if it falls into the intake, then obviously it's going to end up in the cylinder, which then is going to be bashed up by the piston, which is going to ruin a bunch of parts. So yeah, I just put stuff in these holes to make sure it doesn't end up in there. And same with this, block up anything where stuff can fall in the engine block, where you'd have to take the engine back apart just to make sure. Same thing here. This is where the distributor goes. Block up that hole as well while you're working on this stuff. Then at this stage, what I'm going to go ahead and do is, obviously we're going to block off these holes too, that where the spark plugs go. Because the spark plugs, you don't want to put the spark plugs in the engine until it's either in the vehicle or it's ready to be put in the vehicle. You want, and basically, essentially after it's in the vehicle, because the spark plugs are made of, porcelain, and they're very easy to break if they get bumped. So, just wait until it's after it's in the vehicle to put those spark plugs back in. But block off the holes, obviously, to keep dirt and stuff out. But then we're going to go ahead and put in, I'm going to go ahead and put in our lifters here, our lifting rods, because our lifters, we're going to put on our lifters, then we're going to put in our lifting rods, because we don't want to do that while the intake's on. We want that to be off so that they get lined up properly and get lubricated properly. I'm going to put a little break-in lube at each end of the rod, and put in a little bit of break-in lube on these as well, on the top of these, and obviously lubricating these as you slide them into the engine block and that kind of thing. So let's go ahead and get all of those in place. Okay, and then once all of those are placed, this specific style, you're going to have to do what's called preloading. And basically you're going to go in sequence. There is actually a sequence to follow where you're going to be turning the engine, and you're going to be basically preloading each one of these lifters. So you're going to turn the engine until there's no tension on the rocker, which these are rockers, by the way. There's no tension on the rocker, and then what you're going to do is you're going to spin this lifter as you're tightening down it's going to be a nut in this case, but you're going to tighten that down, and basically what you're doing is you're preloading the spring of this, and you're going to turn this and tighten this down until it doesn't turn anymore. You may even give it a little lift to make sure it's not sticking. But yeah, you're gonna turn this. You're gonna tighten this down, and you're gonna turn this, and you turn the lifting rod in your fingers until the lifting rod doesn't spin. and then you usually give it roughly a quarter turn. The engine, it does matter. There is, like I said, there's a preload sequence. There's a very specific sequence to follow on which intake and exhaust valves and which cylinders to do in which order. So make sure you follow that. There is a specific set to do that. But once you're preloaded all these, then you can go ahead and put your intake on. Making sure you take out all of your towels out of all of your holes that are covering up everything. Don't take that out of context, but make sure that those towels are not in there anymore. I have made that mistake before, and I went, oh crap, when I got it like mostly together, and I had to take the intake back off in order to get those back out of there. Went, whew, that was that close one. But yeah, then you're going to go ahead and do that, and then once your intake's on, then obviously you can go ahead and put on your valve covers with the brand new gaskets. Now, in a lot of cases, you're probably not going to worry about tightening this up too much and getting it torqued down, because you're going to be taking it back off anyway. Because after you've done preloaded, sometimes, and this occurs more with used parts, with like worn out parts, is sometimes you'll preload your rockers, and then the engine then needs to run, get warmed up to operating temperature once it's running correctly, and then you're going to go back in, take these valve covers off while the engine's running, and you're going to do a slight tighten or a slight loosen on your rockers based on the ticking noise, essentially. Once the engine's up to operating temperature, sometimes you'll have to tighten it just ever so slightly, because it'll be sitting there ticking away because it's loose. And you'll give it just a little bit more tightening or whatever, and then get rid of that that ticking noise. Usually what I'll use a stethoscope to put next to each of the lifting rods while the engine's running, like I said. Obviously being very careful not to get it tangled up in the moving parts. And I actually have a set of valve covers that are cut out right in the center where all of the nuts are, so that way I don't make a mess. They probably make a tool to cover it. They probably make a specific tool to cover it and do that, but yeah. Okay, but yeah, looking at this specific thing, I'm looking at this and going, okay, we could probably put these in, because this, there's no real danger with them being in this little alcove. There's no real danger of them being broken off. The standard Chevy small block, the spark plugs are actually sticking straight outwards from the block itself. They're kind of sticking almost level, but slightly downwards or slightly upwards. And they're very easy to get broken off. So, but yeah, we can go ahead and put these on as well, as long as you got the clearance for them. Sometimes you take them off down. You don't take them off down here. You take them off up here before you pull the engine out, because these are not going to come off without breaking them. Which mine, the last engine I did on my pickup truck, I ended up breaking the studs off trying to get that off there. I actually had to torch. Once I was breaking studs, I was just basically torching the nuts and turning them into liquid, because it can't, the nuts can't be tight if they're liquid. Things can't be tight if it's liquid. So it's just like melted it into oblivion to get it apart. And then what I did was I replaced the headers, put brand new studs and stuff in. Okay. And normally you would leave this oil filter. You're going to leave the oil filter off. You're not going to put that on there. Because, that could be easily damaged with engine installations. So. You're also going to leave the starter off. You're going to leave anything off that's easy to put on, but you're going to put on as much as possible to where the engine, where stuff can't get damaged, but where it leaves less work for you when the engine's actually in the vehicle. Yeah, so like this, like the power steering pump we just put on. The power steering pump, we're not going to put that on the engine until it's in the vehicle, because that is a very easy part to damage. Same with this fuel filter. I might not even put in the okay, so we're gonna need add that to the list. Yeah, I was like, I might not even put in the distributor. Add that to the list. Just because of the, same with these, you're more likely you're not going to put these on, depending on the type of lift you have. This type of lift that was here, it's not here. That type of lift, the way this works, this one has these little shackles that you put and you bolt it into the back side and the front side of the engine heads, or in the engine block itself, depending on where you want to put it or where you can put it, and then lifting it up. The one I have has a plate that bolts on where the either where the throttle body bolts onto or where the carburetors bolt onto to lift the engine up and out. Basically using the intake as a lift. Now you do have to be careful with that if you have a plastic intake. You cannot have a plastic intake or an aluminum intake. Really, I wouldn't even risk that. Holding up the entire engine weight. Or not aluminum. What is it? What is those ones made out of? Those really, like, they're really good for like performance and stuff, but it's a really light metal. Whatever. Anyway, we gotta go buy parts. Buy some more parts. More parts. We don't need that one. Okay. And then electronics. Let's see. We need a distributor cap. We need one of those. And what's that little clip? That's not over here, is it? It's going to be over here. I think it's clip B, but I'm not 100% sure about that. Yeah, I'd probably leave those carburetors off still. Just to make sure we don't cause any more damage. Okay. Let's go ahead and grab that real quick, and then we'll figure out which clips we need. I didn't know which distributor that was going to be. I think I did this last time to this job as well, because I just got frustrated with the amount of parts it needed. I was just like, you know, I'm just gonna buy everything, and I still ended up making money. So it's not like you're gonna lose out money by buying some extra parts for the customer. I believe because the job does pay you for those parts. Stupid thing telling me that I'm out of time. Yeah, we got the license plate out of time, right? It's like, you're out of time. It's like, thanks. Yeah, I didn't expect this to take as long as it did. Nope. Okay. And of course, add that to the list. Air filter round base. That should be, yeah. There's that, and there's that. Okay. There's all those. Getting this engine back together. Beautiful. Of course. I'm missing so many parts. Like I said, I should have really added that to the list before I decided to. Oops, it's an inline 6 style. It's a that's the old style of alternators as well. Yeah, like I said, they had V-belts. They didn't use serpentine. Not back then. V-belts were the thing. Okay. Add that to the shopping list. It'd be nice if I could just buy a new engine. That would have been a decent thing you could do. And if you can buy a new engine, I don't know how, apparently. I'm sure somebody will tell me if... or somebody will tell me, be like, yeah, you should have just bought a brand new engine. Be like, oh, okay. Didn't know you could do that. I didn't know which fan it used either, so I didn't buy that. Because there's two different fans that look exactly alike. Well, almost exactly alike. They're slightly different, but they have the same amount of fan blades and everything, so... Okay. Back and forth, back and forth. I keep forgetting I have the freaking tablet, too. Sorry, that's just... that's not something I can really help. Because my brain doesn't work that way. It goes, nope, you gotta go back to the computer. Like, this is punishment. Punishment for selling the parts and then not adding them to your shopping list like an idiot. Okay, but that is just about... We're going to put the oil filter on there just because. Like I said, I wouldn't normally do that. Same with the fan blade. I wouldn't normally put the fan blade or the serpentine belt on or anything. Just because all that would be in the way trying to install the engines. Yeah, beautiful engine. Take engine from stand. Oh yeah, we gotta move the van back in here. We still haven't done that story job either. Move that to car lift A. Just push it back in. I would have probably had some people helping me. Install brand new engine. No, we don't want to pull out. That would be bad. Sorry. As soon as I said it, I went, oh Lord, here we go. Everybody's going to be like, that's what she said. Ah. Anyway. Assemble. Oh. Part mount. Exhaust. Oh, I don't even have that. Oops. And same with this one. Probably these as well. I probably sold those. Yeah, we could sell that, sell that, sell that. So that and that. Okay. Alright. Add that to the list. Like, he didn't need a brand new transmission. See, yeah, but I sold his. I sold his. So he's getting a brand new one. And yeah, missing that too. And brand new driveline. Like I said, I sold all the parts in my inventory. Just to be able to afford parts for that freaking Porsche. That was absolutely an insane job. It's like, I can't believe that costed me that much money. Okay. Ain't that. Yeah, I don't think those are left and right. What we can do is we can get rid of this. Replace that with A. Oop. Is it not called A? Or does it want... Is it capitalized? No? Huh. can't see the freaking thing. Front exhaust section. Oh boy. And it's a tiny little thing, so it should be easy to spot. Is it this one? I think it is. Don't know why you took me all the way back there, but whatever. Okay. Nope. Okay, add that to the list. Yeah, he's getting a bunch of free parts, essentially. If it was real life, yeah, he'd be getting a bunch of free parts. The shop would definitely have to accommodate the customer for selling off their parts and whatnot. Okay, car status. That is all that, so fix the body parts. We just gotta fix the body panels now. Das ist gut, das ist gut. Gonna have to refill the fluids, of course, but... Gonna put engine oil in there. Get her all full. Check for leaks. All that stuff. And then we're going to have to time the engine with the oh, I overfilled it. Oops. Well, not really. So basically there's a timing gun. So I don't remember the proper name for it, but what you're going to do is you're going to it's going to have some leads that are probably going to go to the battery. So you hook up the leads to the battery. Some of them do, some of them don't. It really just depends on which one you get, if it's battery powered or, but yeah, you clip it onto the battery usually. And then they have the main wire, which goes to the spark plug wire. You're going to put the little clamp around the number one cylinder, spark plug wire. And you're going to, there's usually like a little bolt that holds like a little fork that holds this down, and you're going to leave that bolt, you're going to tighten it up until you can't turn the distributor anymore, and then you're going to loosen it slightly, just ever so slightly, just enough to be able to turn this, but where it will stick where you leave it. So if you like turn this distributor and then you let go of your hand and it stays right there, it doesn't turn back or anything, that's where you want to leave it. So you can turn this. Then you're going to take your timing gun, and there's going to be usually on the front, there's going to be a little timing plate coming off of the timing cover here. There's going to be a little plate there, and it's going to line up with a notch inside of the harmonic balancer that's going to be on the front of this. Yeah, what you're going to do is you're going to clamp that around. You're going to start your engine. You're going to turn your distributor until the engine actually starts up and runs. And you might be able to do it by ear just to get close, so that the engine is running decently. And while that engine is warming up, you're going to then point your gun and you're going to pull the trigger, and what it's going to do is going to flash a light over, and you're going to point it at that timing mark as the engine is running, and you're going to see where that timing mark lines up, and you're going to continue to turn your distributor back and forth until you can get that timing mark where it dead sets at the 0 mark at your on your timing plate, to where you'll see the little line or the little notch. You'll see that notch as the light flashes at that notch, and you're gonna. It's actually really cool to be able to see it happen. But yeah, and then it's going to you're going to just keep rotating your distributor until that line marks up with this lines up with the 0 mark, and then once that's done, you're going to go ahead and tighten that down. Wait for the engine to warm up, and then once the engine's warmed up, if you hear any ticking or the engine doesn't quite sound right still, you're going to then take off your valve covers or have your special valve covers that are cut out like I have, and you're going to adjust your valves after the engine has reached operating temperature. Obviously, you're going to, at the same time, you're going to be filling your radiator with fluid, because obviously once the operating temperature warms up fully, the thermostat opens up and allows the coolant to flow into the engine, and then that's going to obviously drain the radiator, so you're going to have to fill the radiator back up after that happens. and basically get all the air out of the system. And this is all for older engine knowledge. This is not for the new cars and stuff like that. So, but yeah, that's basically that. And that's all filled up. So now we just got to do the body parts. So front left door. So that's going to be this door here. Front left side mirror. We've got that. Rear bumper and rear right door window. Rear right door window and rear bumper. Okay. That's this, and this. Okay, that means we can go to here. Bulk cargo. Oh, oops. Rear bumper B. What? Oh, B, of course. Is it body tuning? Yeah. There you are. Okay, the rest of that can be over here. I think it was everything I wanted. Yeah, I might have messed up. I don't know. The rear bumper. There's that window, and then yeah, it's a specialized bumper. All right, car status. That is all done. Sweet. Okay. Oh, normal mode. There we go. I'm just going to finish that. They didn't ask for it to be painted, so I'm not going to bother. Okay, now we have 6 points, which means we can buy new upgrades. So, mounting speed, we're going to do screwing speed. Oh, no, wait. Is there a discount? Gives you ability to inspect the value of a car. Inspecting time. Okay, no, so... and that's repair. All right. Increase my screwing speed, please. I would like to screw faster. Yes, thank you very much. All right, inventory. Go and sell everything. Alrighty, now we have 13 grand again. We basically just went in a circle. All of this to just be able to get, because we started with what? What did we start with? 18,000? Something like that? We've just went in a circle. All to be able to do this job. Okay, first things first, car wash, please. This car looks like an absolute... Just looks an absolute agony. Alright, let's move the car over to car lift A. Alright, so what did they want on this? So, replace the body parts, change the oil, change coolant, refill washer fluid. Okay, let's do that first. So, change coolant, refill washer fluid. For some reason. Just random. Also, look at that beautiful engine. Dual overhead cam, V8. Beautiful. Fuel injection. That thing's got to have... And it's got a basically a slight performance intake, so it's kind of makes it have a little bit more horsepower. Even more horsepowers. It's a beautiful looking engine. I would love to have a vehicle that had an engine that looked like that. Okay. Car status. Spray it. Change the oil. Alright, we'll do that first. Because we're going to be repainting the car, we might as well change the oil first. Get the dirty work out of the way. Use equipment. Okay, put back. Alright. Give me that oil filter, please. No. Now you can sell it. It's like, no. Put it on the shopping list first, damn it. Okay. Part mount. Brand new oil filter. Bring her on down. Yeah, total BMW. I don't know about the engine now. I don't know what kind of engine would be in this BMW specifically. I doubt it'd be a V8, but like I said, I don't know. Foreign cars are not my not really my knowledge base. I've worked on a few, but they're very rare. Like I worked on a Tiburon. I worked on a Tiburon. I worked on Hondas. Obviously the older Hondas. You know, stuff like that. I worked on a Toyota pickup once. Obviously, because I had one. But I've worked on another one too that had like a V6 in it. Oops, I don't know what I'm doing. Back down. Okay, so basically all the body panels, we're just going to strip this car of every single body panel. I don't know what happened, but this dude just absolutely obliterated his dad's car. just wrecked it. Wrecked it so bad that there's nothing left. It's like he got into a rollover crash, essentially. Okay. You know what? We're going to detail it. Okay. Put the equipment back. And do we have the welder? I don't think we ever bought the welder. I'm going to buy the welder. Over here. Salvaging. Lifter. Dyno. Welder. There it is. $5,000. We're not going to do it. I'm not going to do it right now. Not until we bought the body parts. Once we bought the body parts, then I'll do that. But so is that like? Does it want every single body part replaced? Part not discovered. Oh, I thought it was. Okay, no, we're just doing the broken ones. Okay, actually, that's much better then. So yeah, we're just doing the broken ones, which the rest of them, I guess, too bad. Can we at least remove the rust? Okay, and this is a custom car. Oops. Right. Yeah, we already got this. Okay. And then part mount. Yeah, apparently it's okay with the bumper. Or with the hood being like that. Wow, Wow, this car is just absolutely, like I said, it's absolutely obliterated, but if you don't want brand new parts, I'm not going to worry about it. Because that's a lot of... the body parts, replacing it when the customer doesn't ask, that is a... that's not really something you should do. Because that is an expensive replacement. Alright, car status. Left front fender. Left front. What? Oh, was that one? Yeah, I guess it wasn't damaged enough. Oh no, it was damaged. What? Did I not buy that? I could have swore I did. There we go. Okay. But I just bought... I'm an idiot. Okay. Spray it with factory colors. So let's move this... move this over to the paint shop. Paint car. Factory color. They said factory color, right? Not the current color. Car status. Spray it with factory paint. I think you just paint it like this, can't you? For $1,000. No, you have to do it with the... okay. I guess when it means factory color, it doesn't mean the current color of the car. It means factory color. Okay. Oh, there's $2,000 gone. Whoops. It's not even the original color of the car. Your dad's definitely going to notice. Especially with all the rust. Alrighty. So apparently there's something either wrong. I don't even know. 'Cause he didn't mention anything. Driving at night and he crashed the car. Okay, that'd be body panels. I was driving very... yeah. I don't know. We're going to take apart this car. Alright, so first things first, I'm going to move this over to the test path. Or see if anything's wrong with the suspension. So since we got the test path now, we can go ahead and use it. Oops. Ugh, man. The exhaust is not doing good. It's very loud. Which, I mean, I like the sound of it, but you can definitely tell. Oh, so the right rear, look at that. The right rear brakes are absolutely screwed. Yeah, even the right rear suspension. Yeah, okay. I'll move it over to the car lift A. See if we discovered everything. Some parts not discovered. That might be bushings and stuff. Alright, so this whole, like, rear end got screwed over. I guess I can buy that, I can go and buy the welder. It's like, yeah, because we don't need to buy body panels. Oh, the tire, yeah, the rim's probably ruined. What the hell did you hit? That you end up breaking? Yeah, I have seen broken rims before like that. It's just like, how in the hell? I remember one time I found a, because the bearing head went out, I found a, an entire tire of a pickup truck with the inner, this inner piece right here. This inner piece, basically the knuckle, I guess you could call it. But yeah, the inner piece with the brakes and the what do you call it? Damn it. The brakes are all on there, yeah. The brake caliper, yeah. There we go. I don't know why I couldn't think of that. Yeah, the brake caliper, everything was still attached, and what had happened was the bearing went out, which allowed this to separate, and because it was a solid axle pickup truck, it actually snapped the axle right at the right where the bearing was. It snapped the axle in half or in a piece. And yeah, I was just like, holy crap, that's pretty cool. Can't remember what we did with that. It's been a little while. Yeah, I'm going to take apart this whole side of the suspension just completely off. So I suspect that a lot of this is pretty well destroyed. So CV axle was also broken. Oh. And again, you wouldn't take the bearings out. That's just not going to happen on our car. You're going to be taking that off to be able to do that. I know there's... Oh, there we go. I was like, I know there's a fourth one. Get off there. Oops. No, we can take this off. Oh. Wants me to take the bushing out first. Oh, whatever. Could have done it together, but... Yeah. Take that off. Take that off. Yeah, this whole side of the rear end needs to just be replaced. What's still attached? Oh. Oh, that's right, that stupid one. I don't know why they programmed it that way. Nope, doesn't look too bad. Okay, car status, did we... Yeah, looks like we got everything. Okay. So this... Is there any... Okay, so bad rubber bushings. So 1, 2, 3 small rubber bushings. Any of the small rubber bushings bad? No. Okay, so it's just the large rubber bushing. So we're gonna buy 1, 2 of those because I don't know which one it was. That's broke. That's broke. That's broke. That, and that, and that, and that. I think that's everything. Nope. Oh, I guess we can get rid of that. I don't know why I added 2 of those. So 2 rubber bushings. That one. That one. That one. That one. That one. That one. That. So many parts. The entire side of the suspension was destroyed. Okay, if that actually happened in real life, you would have to probably replace the entire rear end because it would have, you know, as much as is completely absolutely obliterated here. I imagine this whole rear end piece would probably be broken as well because they're usually made of, well, cast aluminum or whatever, and any kind of massive force like that would definitely destroy all of this. You essentially would say, yeah, the car is totaled. All right, while we're putting the parts together, let's go ahead and separate those. So we need both. I think we need both the tire and the rim. Okay, put that back on. Let's get this thing mounted before we go too crazy. There we go. This back in. This back on. Yeah, probably would have had the spring in place before we put most of that back together. Yep, put this back together as well. And then the final shock absorber. Alright, then this would have already been together before it went on the car. And that. Okay. Now we just got to deal with the tire. All right, take. Go over to our rim shop. So an 18-inch rim. Buy part. Tire shop. 235.35. 235.35. 18. So 235. Whoops, too far. 35. All right. And go ahead and install those together. Take. Balance. Putting on our weights. Very good. I've already explained how the tire stuff works, so I'm not going to explain it again. Yep. Assemble. Okay, that is everything. Oh, left body panel window. Oops. Oh, this side. Oh, yeah. Probably should put that back in. For this game, it's really hard to tell what needs replaced and what doesn't. And you know what? We'll do this. Yeah, clean up his dad's car a bit. That's just the panels that are bad. Put that back. Okay. That was a $9,000 job. Yeah, we definitely lost money on that. Oh wait, no, we bought the. Hold on. So it's 13 grand. So we take 13 grand. So that's 7 grand. No, we actually made money. Yeah, because we're back up to 11 because we spent 5 grand on this thing. So yeah, we still made money on that job. Very good. Alrighty, so let's see here. Inventory. Sell everything. Open up the case. What did we get? So we do the outside ones this time. Oh, got a bonus case. And a barn location too. Add that to the map. Open up a new case. Should we do outsides again? Yeah. Woo, made some money. Alrighty. We're almost back up to 13 grand. Even though we spent 5 grand on this. Pretty cool. Alright, should we take one more job? I think we should take one more. Oh, not another van. We just worked on a van. Okay, yeah, we'll do one more story job and then we'll call it a good. Okay. So, hi, my sister recommended your workshop. Truth be told, when I learned the location, I couldn't believe that there was anything standing here at all. And yet, here you are. A great garbage. What? A great garage. Okay, I read that as garbage, like he was calling me great garbage. A great garage. Back to the car. I'm coming with my truck van. I use it every day at work. It's a bit worn out, but it's not missing anything. Apart from the engine's crackling and drops in power, I don't see any major problems, but maybe it's a matter of habit. Please take a closer look. Look at the suspension. The car often carrying subloads. Due to the routine checkup, and make it usable for a few more years. Thanks. Okay. I can't read today, apparently. Well, I can't read any day, but especially not today. Alrighty, first things first. Move car over to the car wash. To the car wash, go! Car status. Oop. Oops. Oh, you can only do one at a time. Alright, car's all washed. Give me this. Thank you. We'll just detail his vehicle for him. Okay. Now they said something about suspension, so move car over to the test path. And we'll go ahead and use our test path as a... Oh, there's no engine oil. What? Why is there no engine oil in the car? I might put engine oil in it just to be able to take it back out, but it saves me a lot of trouble. Why is there no engine oil in this? Doing a routine checkup and there's no freaking engine oil. There's 2 engine oil in there. Move it back to the test path. Making me waste money. Engine kit. Okay. Oh, you see the alternator's junk. Dang it. Okay, so I guess we'll do... Oh, not the drain tool. Electro voltmeter. See what's wrong. You can see the suspension parts back there. It looks like we got a frayed belt up front here too. Okay, so alternator and starter are both absolutely fried, which in this case I would jump the car and then go to start it and then not get anything, right? Because the starter's junk. I would probably just hear a click or whatnot, you know, like a tink or anything, or just sometimes just nothing. Be like, well, the battery's charged. What the hell? Now let's move this over to car lifter A. I guess we're just gonna have to fix it. So go ahead and raise that on up here. Alrighty. Let's see what we need to do in order to get this engine going. Definitely. What else did they want? They wanted us to check the oil as well? Or change the oil? Yeah. Okay. Change the oil, change the fluids. Refill the washer fluid. Alternator starter, and then all of these parts. Oh no. Is this another engine rebuild? Okay. Slow down. No, slow down. Let's not jump into it. All right. So let's go. I guess let's go a little bit real life style. Okay. So the engine can't be started. We know that for sure. So the first things first, we're gonna know. Let's see. What's bad? So the starter's bad. Yeah. We have full battery charge, but starter's bad. So the starter will not start, or will not start the van, which is a little bit unfortunate. So it's just like, okay. Let's see. Let's go ahead and pull that starter out. And let's take a look at it. Alright, so I just kind of do it in a real life scenario style. Okay, we don't know that we're not going to say that we know that alternator is bad. We're just going to say we know the starter is bad. Just to you know, give us a little thing. So in a lot of shops as well, they do have starter testers. Actually, I shouldn't say a lot of shops. Maybe some shops do. But yeah, they have these things called starter testers, where you can actually put a starter and basically bolt it into a tool that's bolted to your bench or your wall or whatever, bolted to the floor, and you can put your starter in there and it'll actually test it for you. Like you can actually push the button and it'll actually try and engage the solenoid. But the one other thing that you can do on a starter, you got to be very careful with it, is I would take your starter and put it in this vise right here. Take your starter, put it in the vise, not very tightly. You don't want to crunch down on the outer casing. You just want enough to where you just want to put it in there enough to where it can't move. And you take a couple of rags and stick it over these cloths here so it doesn't make indentations in the customer's starter. And then you'll take a battery, put a battery right next to it, and what you're going to do is you're going to put a couple of clamps with wires. You're going to ground the starter with your ground, and then you're going to take your starting solenoid and you're going to touch it. Usually they'll have like some starters have like little symbols or little letters on the terminals. And what you're going to do is you're going to take that positive, and you're going to touch it to the battery terminal and the starter terminal. You might have to have a third lead or a screwdriver, whatever you like. And you're going to try and touch those terminals to positive, and basically to the battery terminal gives the starter power, and then to the S terminal, the starter terminal, that comes from the key up here, and a wire runs down to the starter. And then when you turn your key to contact that, it sends battery power down to the starter terminal, and then that will basically engage the solenoid. And we're going to say that we put it on the bench, it didn't work. Battery's just there, the starter's just not working. So let's go ahead and get him a new starter, and let's see if that's the issue. So we know, oops. Oh, okay. I didn't know that. You can right-click stuff to put it into your shopping list. Why haven't I known that ever? That's actually really handy. Okay. So we know the starter is there. Okay. Let's go ahead and mount the part. Brand new starter. Beautiful. So then what I'm going to do, I'm just going to use one of the tools. I'm going to see if this baby starts. Examination mode. No. That's right, you got to be in there. Okay. Fuel pressure test. Okay, we got the starter in. The engine's turning over, but nothing's happening. It's just not working. Okay, so now you can do a fuel pressure test without the engine actually running, if it's an electronic pump. You could do I guess you could do the manual pumps too, but you just disconnect the manual pump from the carburetor, and then just kind of put it like over like a container, and then turn the engine over, and then that will pump the manual pump will pump the fuel, and you can see if the fuel's coming out. But this is an electronic fuel pump, and I don't know, would it be possible that the 80s would have that? Have an electronic fuel pump? Probably not. I don't know. In this game, all vehicles have an electronic fuel pump. So let's say that, yeah, we turn the key. You can hear or you can't hear the. Sometimes you can actually hear the pump actually working. If you actually listen to it, a lot of the older vehicles, if you actually just turn the key on without starting it, you just turn the key on. Usually you hear like a little woo, and then it shuts off after a few seconds. And it's like that's like the electronic fuel pump priming the system, basically putting pressure up against your system, ready to go. So as soon as you go to turn that key over, it's immediately going to start, or it's going to try and start after a second. Depends on the vehicle, I suppose, how long it takes. But so yeah, looking at this, we're just going to say that we turn the key with the electronic fuel pump, and there's no fuel coming out of the line. I disconnected it, and there's no fuel coming out of the line. So we're going to go ahead and take that fuel pump out, and we're going to determine that the fuel pump, we're going to bring it over here. We're going to put some power to it, and the pump's just not working. The pump just doesn't work. So brand new fuel pump it is. I'm just trying to think of reasons, or trying to think of the steps that I would take anyway, to try and figure that out. But yeah, like it doesn't seem to be getting any fuel, so I disconnected the fuel line, turned the key with the electronic fuel pump, and it's just not working. So yeah, it is definitely junk. Okay, let's get that on our shopping list. Oops, no, don't sell it. Okay. Brand new fuel pump. We're getting her figured out. Part mount. Yeah, and since we're putting a brand new fuel pump in there, the fuel filter is probably not very good. A very old vehicle, so and fuel filters usually are very, very cheap. So we're gonna throw a brand new fuel filter on this. Okay. Oops. Wish you could access the inventory while you're in the computer, so that I could just add it to the list. Okay. All right, we got our fuel pump. Part mount. We're slowly working through the issues here. All right. Now let's try our fuel pressure test. Engine still can't be started. Yeah, so we're getting fuel pressure now. We're definitely getting fuel through the filter. We'll disconnect it from the carburetor, and it's like, yeah, we're actually getting fuel now, but the engine's still not starting. So we have some other issues. So what I'm going to do is I would then go ahead and take off. I'll just with the whichever cylinder is easiest. We'll just take off like number 1 or whatever. Take off that spark plug. We're going to put in our spark plug tester, and we're going to. If the spark plug wires are long enough, sometimes they're not, but we can take that spark plug tester and we can kind of set it aside, and then have somebody else, if we can't get it to us, have somebody else like come over and turn the vehicle over, or if it's long enough, sometimes they are long enough that you'll be able to take it and actually like bring it up to the windshield and have it kind of touching ground or whatever. And then you can actually, yeah, like I said, you can actually bring that up to where you can see it and then try to turn the vehicle over, and we can see that we're not getting spark. Okay, so that one's not getting spark. Is it just number 1? Let's check number 2. And number 2 is not getting spark, so far. Things are not getting spark, so we are definitely in trouble. Spark plug wires, we're checking them, and they're not working. Now what I would also do is I'd probably also take the spark plug and stick it in the wires and see if we get spark at all. And it's like, well, if the wires aren't getting spark, maybe the spark plugs are junk too, which it looks like these are. Gonna take these out, and we can see that usually you'll inspect like the bottom side of the spark plug, and you can actually see like corrosion and stuff like that, like a corrosive stuff, or maybe it's oil saturated, or maybe it's like really badly charred. Maybe the center like little piece is missing. That all those kind of little things. We're just like, yeah, spark plug wires and spark plugs are junk. So, so since I'm looking at that, I'm going to go ahead and take off this cap, and let's take a look at the bottom side of the cap too. Let's take a look at our distributor. And sometimes what you'll have with the distributor is you'll have this little piece of metal that comes out, and that's what distributes the spark. And sometimes what'll happen is the centerpiece will either snap in half, or it'll be so corroded that there's no metal strip here anymore. It's like maybe that's why we're not getting spark. Usually you wouldn't just replace the rotor, you replace the whole distributor all in one go, because that's usually pressed on and together. So it's like, okay, well, we are in trouble. So this is not working, this is not working, and this is not working. I don't know why I'm adding 8. I know that it has 8 cylinders. I don't have to add 8. But, okay, that's that. Actually, yeah, all of that's electronic. I don't know why they have the electronics department separate. Usually, like in real life at an automotive shop, you would just order the parts, and then the automotive shop would just bring it to you. At least that's what we had. The automotive shop would either deliver it to us, or if they couldn't deliver it, they'd say they couldn't deliver it, and then we just go out and send somebody out, like the parts guy or whatever, tell them to go get our parts. So yeah, we got a bad distributor, bad spark plug wires. Maybe the spark plug wires are cracked and old and stuff like that. And it's just like, okay, yeah, we'll just Yeah, full tune-up on the engine here. This thing, more likely what would have caused all this as well is just sitting, just not working. Alright. A brand new distributor, because this is all ruined. This would all come together in a kit as well, so it'll all be brand new. Even the clips, but we're not going to replace the clips because they're, yeah. They're just little clips, man. Okay. And let's put some brand new spark plugs in it. All right. There's all our brand new spark plugs. Okay. And brand new spark plug wires. All right. Now we should be ready to go. We got fuel pressure. We've got spark. The air filter doesn't look too great, but we'll say that's okay. The engine still can't be started. Okay, so if it's just the alternator that's bad in this situation, the car will start. If nothing else is wrong, because we have full battery power. It won't stay running for very long. It'll stay running as long as the battery has power, and it'll just drain the battery as it runs. Yeah, the alternator wouldn't stop it from starting. So we're just gonna say that. Let's see what else is bad. Okay, we're just gonna say the engine, turns over, but something is not sounding right. We got bad belts and everything, so just to give us a reason to do what I'm about to do. Which I am going to use this equipment on car lift A. Let's go ahead and drain the oil. Something doesn't sound right. It sounds very broken. It doesn't want to run. It sounds very broken. So, use equipment. We needed to do the oil change on the customer's car anyway, so we're just going to go ahead and say that, yeah, we're going to drain the oil, and the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put a big pan underneath here, and we're going to go ahead and take off that oil pan. See what the heck is making all that racket. And lo and behold, since the crankshaft's bad, lo and behold, the crankshaft, there's a bunch of chunks in the oil pan. Some of these pistons are bent. It's broken. Things are broken. I've actually seen a crankshaft in 3 pieces before. And it was so bad that that part of the crankshaft, when it was together, had actually bent, and it actually snapped some of the internal portions of the actual block itself. It had completely ruined the block. Pistons were through the sidewalls. It was a grenading of sorts. Yeah, we could definitely see. Yep, engine is absolute trashed. Maybe the engine did turn over a few tries, and then it locked up and wouldn't turn anymore. That kind of thing, just like, yeah, it's done. So we're going to call the customer up and say, hey, yeah, well, we tried to get the engine running. We put some parts at it, threw some parts at it, and managed to get it to try and turn over, and it's just making a heck of a lot of noise. So we took off the oil pan, and there's chunks of metal in the oil pan. Things are definitely broken. Maybe I take a few pictures on my phone and send it to them. Be like, here's here's what we're looking at. Your van needs a new engine. The engine is absolute trashed. And they go, okay. In this case, they'll go, okay, yeah, just, can you fix it? Can you, do whatever? Can you put a brand new engine in it? You're like, yeah, sure we can. Okay, so let's say we're starting at, we'll say 12 grand was our initial starting price. We're going to see if my theory is correct. That replacing the entire engine and all of its parts, even though we don't need to replace everything, but replacing all the parts will, in fact, still make us money. Tons of money. So, I mean, you do get I guess you get a little bit of a bonus, but... Okay, first things first, though. Let's go ahead and take off that brand new starter, because, yeah, it's just... I was just, you know, trying to do, some, you know, real-life scenarios here. I'm not going to do that with all of them, of course, but... It's fun to do it sometimes. Okay. Now, yes, you would take off the drive line in this scenario. You would definitely take off the... you definitely take off the transmission. It needs to be disconnected. Actually, not necessarily. It depends. Now, in this case, actually, you probably wouldn't need to take off the transmission because, well, I mean, it depends on the weight as well. Like if it tips too far backwards, but since we need to pull the engine out straight forward out of the van, since we can't lift it up and over, we need to take apart the front end to then slide it out. You could probably leave the transmission hooked up. And it'd be fine. But I'm still going to go ahead and do that. I'm just going to go ahead and take the transmission out of the van. Disconnect everything, obviously. I don't know why I'm doing that. Oh yeah, I need to disconnect the exhaust pieces. Disconnect that one. Disconnect that one. Lower it down. Okay, let's get our, oh wait, so it's, so we've already drained the oil. And, no. Let's go ahead and drain tool. Let's drain the coolant out of the car. Definitely need to do that. Drain that. Drain that. And he wanted all this drained anyway, so... I mean, he didn't want the windshield fluid drained, but... Whatever. Is that everything? Yeah, okay. Cool. Alright, but yeah, in real life, with this van, what you'd more likely would do, as we talked about earlier, is we're going to take off this front grille, we're going to take out the headlights, get all that disconnected, and then we're going to completely disconnect, we're going to take out the radiator, completely disconnect this entire front end. More than likely this whole front end would come apart. And then you just have this hole right here. And then you would grab onto the engine, disconnect it from the mounts, and then slide it out. So slide out with your engine lift. Because yeah, you're not getting it in between these two spaces. You're not getting that engine through there. You're definitely going to be coming out of the front. Or if the front can't come apart, the other way to do it would be to lift the vehicle up and then drop the whole engine cradle if it comes apart. Drop the whole engine cradle out of there. But this old van, more likely it's going to be the framing and the engine cradle is all going to be one piece. And that's not going to happen. So you're going to be pulling it out of the front. But nowadays, the newer vehicles, put this over here, car lift day. The newer vehicles, the engine cradle actually unbolts from the car. And you can pull the engine cradle, engine, transmission, and all the electronics and stuff that are on that. You could pull that all out at once just by dropping the whole thing. Now you do have to, you will have to disconnect some of the suspension, but that will the suspension and the wheels and stuff will all come with that. So, it's actually not any easier, to be honest. Front exhaust sections. Oh, no, I already done that. What? What am I missing? This is another one of them yeah, it's another one of them stupid situations. And you gotta do it from under the car, which is the stupidest thing. This is a different engine from the last one we worked on. I love this to the van as well. And but it's got the same exhaust these stupid little exhaust pieces that the game wants removed, which again, like I said, makes no damn sense. Why it wants that to be removed, but whatever. Alright, engine is now in our pocket. Big old engine. We shrunk it down to make it light, you know, super lightweight, and then I stuck it in my pocket. Now we're going to inflate it. Install engine. Okay, now this particular engine is more akin to what's in my pickup truck. Now, I don't have a carburetor like I said. Mine's fuel injection. It's actually called what they call spider injection kit, which has basically got it's got a computer set that the fuel runs through, and then that goes through 8 different lines that inject directly into the cylinders through the bottom portion of the intake. So it's like fuel injection, but they call it spider injection because it's a central piece that all of the 8 tubes come out of, and it like looks like spider legs. So it's spider injection. But yeah, it is like the very early versions, some of the very early versions of direct fuel injection. So the fuel actually, once the fuel gets sucked through the fuel pump into the fuel lines, it never touches air until it hits the intake. So the fuel can't be can't be aerosolized until it hits the intake itself. Alrighty, I guess we'll get started taking this apart. And since we've already taken this engine apart, this one's very similar to what we've already done. There's only one slight difference. I'll show you the difference here. Obviously, some of the parts are different and whatnot, but you can see these rockers. I love how everything's roller rockers, which this engine would not be a roller rocker setup unless you bought roller rockers for it. The original rockers didn't have what they call it roller rocker because it's got a roller on the end of this, which hits up against the spring here, which caused less wear. But the older engines, like my pickup truck, which is a 96, they didn't have roller rockers originally. They just had a flat piece of metal that was in the shape, that was like in a U shape basically, to hit upon this spring here. And the roller rocker design was basically, like I said, designed to cause less wear to the rocker itself and to the surface of the spring, so or the plate for your valves. But yeah, you can see it's slightly different. It's all in a line and it's grouped up in these twos, which basically is like that. Now the actual real life engine doesn't have bolts like this one does. You see this one has bolts in it. The original design has studs with a nut, and it's got a little like half circle piece that it basically pivots on, and whatnot. And this one also you have to preload the valves and everything. And this particular engine does not fit this van specifically for the year, because this particular engine would have a tensioner on it as well. It would have a serpentine. This has a serpentine belt, and that old 84 was that what that is that year, which fits. No, this is a 95. That does not look like a 95. I mean, maybe, but that does not look like a 95. Maybe with the square headlights. Yeah. But, no, that looks like... This thing looked like it came straight out of the 80s. I'd actually have to look at a 95 GMC van, see how it looks. Anyway, so let's go ahead and tear apart this entire engine and put it all back together as a brand new engine. I'm just going to go ahead and cut that out so that you guys don't have to watch me take apart yet another V8 engine, and put it back together with all brand new parts. And voila, brand new engine ready to go. Nope. Oh, that's right, you need to do it on the stand. Brand new engine ready to go. We're just gonna say the engine was absolute junk, because if your crankshaft is broken, you got chunks missing, you know, it's broken to pieces, more than likely the block is probably not going to be any good. That's such a catastrophic part to fail. That's so strong and it's so heavy of a part that it just is very rare where the block actually gets, you know, doesn't get ruined in the process. All right, all brand new parts. Okay. Yep. So my inventory is just full of parts. All right. So now we'll go ahead and go car status. Let's see if we got everything. Oh, we need the starter, of course. And a whole bunch of extra parts that have not been discovered. Okay, that must be the suspension and stuff. So I'll have to tear apart the entire suspension to the van as well. Well, at least the engine will run now, you know. So we can figure that out. Yeah, that engine was absolute toast. That should be good. Let's put our fluids back in. Get everything refilled. Then radiator. You've got to have our coolant. Washer fluid. Get that all filled. I was like, I don't think this thing is damaged. Let me take that off. Nah, we're good. Just taking it off just to make sure. Yeah, there's a lot of suspension parts back there. You can see it. Okay, and then that takes care of all the fluids. So now it's just this and all of these parts. Now, first things first, though, we're going to go ahead and get this transmission back in place. Part mount. Okay, then starter. And then drive line. Alrighty. And then exhaust pieces. Then what we could do is we could take it over to the tester. Then we get all that extra experience, I believe. Alright. Move car over to the test path. Okay, so we're sitting at 1113. Okay, 1113. Hey, our engine runs. Very good. I want to see if this actually gives experience or not. And the front end. Oh, look at all that that's broken. Wow. Car back to the garage. Yeah, it doesn't look like you get experience for that. That's actually kind of sad. You should get experience for all that, all those parts. Oh, well, we'll be fine. Did we ever level up? No, we didn't. Okay. We didn't have a leveled up since the last time. Alright, so now we gotta... I'm probably just gonna tear apart the entire front end damn near. Because I bet we got a million bushings and... Because, you know, if we go to car status, look at all the rubber bushings. Yeah. We're going to have to tear apart pretty much everything on the front end just to figure out what's broken. So let me, let's go ahead and take everything off. Alrighty, and there we go. Entire front end and rear end has been completely taken apart. Of course, these would not be supported. This engine would not be supported in any way because the cradle's gone, but it is what it is. Okay, so any part that is on both sides, because I don't remember which side is which, we're just going to buy both of them, and that way we don't have to fight with the we don't have to fight with the part replacement system where you have to put the brand new part where the broken part was exactly. So we're just going to go 1, 2, because there's 2 of these. And then 1, 2, because there's 2 of those. Now both of them are broken. 1, 2, 3, 4 of those, because there's 2 per side. 2 of these. I'm just going to hit space on all of the rubber bushings as we come across them. That way we get an exact count. 1, 2, 3, 4 brakes, because 1 set for each tire. Did I add these 2? I don't remember. Uh-oh. Yeah, you can't add. You have to take this apart. Okay. So that doesn't look like any of the tie rods are broken. So that. 2 of those. 2 of those. We've already got the brake pads. 1 of those. 1 of those. 1 of those. 1 of those. Yeah, we've already got that. That one. That one. We've already got that. We've already got that. Okay. Hopefully that's all of it. Get all the parts. Okay, so now that we got all of the parts, go ahead and add these in. So obviously the leaf springs have got to go first. Usually this would be put together on the ground. So you put this together, put this in, and get our leaf springs in there, leaf spring bolts in there. Okay, that. That bolt too. All right. So yeah, then once the leaf springs are on, what we do is we lift up this whole thing into the vehicle and then get it bolted in via the rubber bushings. Oh, there's a bit of lag there. Random bit of lag. Okay. Alrighty. So yeah, once that's all in, then what we can do is we can go ahead and put our shock absorbers back on. And then that's the entire, basically the entire rear end put back into the van. And we can worry about all this stuff. So I don't know if these come off of the rear end in real life. I don't think I've ever tried. It's like the the knuckle housing. I mean, yeah, it probably does because it's got the bearing in it. So you need to, press these parts apart. But yeah, we got our rear end. Brand new bearings. We're ready to go. Go to this side. Yeah, let's put, because you would not be pressing this together on the vehicle. Maybe with the rear end, yeah, you probably would, but definitely not generally. Okay. Get our brakes back together. Alright, let's see. 225, 225, 225, okay, so they're all the same size. So do I have to worry about putting we don't have to worry about putting different size tires in different places. Some vehicles will have like wider rear tires because it's a rear-wheel drive or whatnot. And that's mostly like sports car, muscle car style. It's just a simple van, simple GMC. Alright. And then our engine cradle. I took it out just for fun. I was like, I'm going to take everything out. And again, all brand new bearings. Or bearings, sorry. All brand new bushings. They both start with a B, okay? Okay, and the rack and pinion was good, so... Or the whatever. Steering rack. And again, as I've said many times, you would not be taking that apart unless you were replacing that specific portion. Alright. I'll put these in. And these, in this particular situation, I probably would have had these arms in place, and then put in the, like had these arms already bolted in. Like that. Or they probably wouldn't have been taken out in the first place because there was nothing wrong with them. Okay. Oh yeah, we need to... Yeah, I completely forgot we need to take those apart. Okay. Alright, this side. Sure, why not? There's a bit of lag sometimes with that upper arm. Okay. Put all this back together. There it is. Okay. Guess this one needed new brake discs. Alright. Now we can put on the tire, but I'm not gonna yet. And we leveled up. Very nice. Okay. That. That. That's a brake disc. Brakes. Or brake pads. Brake caliper. Alright. Yeah, well, I forgot I needed to separate these. Yeah, because we need brand new parts. Alright. All the way to the front. Should be by arrival. Okay. So springs were junk. Okay. Yeah, normally you probably just replace this whole thing. You wouldn't necessarily be just replacing one part, at least nowadays. And imagine back then you would just be replacing the whatever's broken, but it's just like, a lot of this is like, it just comes as a unit and you just put it in. Okay. This side. Alright, and then the two front wheels. And that should be about it. Yep, we replaced everything. Alright, so we were at 12 grand when we started this. We've spent $11,000, roughly. Or we were a little over 12 grand, but it's okay. So now let's go ahead and finish the job. Really? Oh yeah, we still need to sell all the sell all of the parts. So sell everything. So yeah, we lost money on that job. Okay, so yeah, if you replace the entire engine, you do not get paid for the parts in return. All right. That was my theory. We didn't spend any other money, right? We didn't buy anything extra. We didn't buy any tools or anything. Okay. All right, let's see what points. I'm fine with that. Let's see what we can spend here. So we leveled up twice as well, so that's good. Yeah, increase the mounting speed, and let's go faster runner. Gives you the ability to inspect the value of a car. We don't really need that yet. So I'm gonna buy this one first. We don't need that either. Runner? Be able to run faster? Either both of these are useless because for this one we don't have the table, and for this one we're not buying cars yet. So we'll just buy that one, I suppose. And then we'll have to get these two, and then we can move on to the next row. All right. Let's go ahead and open our case and see what we get. We'll do the two inner ones here. Ooh, more experience. We almost leveled up again. And a barn find location. Nice. Okay, well, with that, inventory's empty, yep. I believe that is going to be it for this episode of Car Mechanic Simulator. We definitely got a lot done and did a lot as well. We built 2 brand new engines. For some reason, the job story, the regular job one that we did, we got a bonus from it, but the story mode one, we did not get a bonus from it for completing it. I suppose that is possible. I don't remember if we got a bonus from it or not. I didn't pay attention. I know it seems like you definitely don't get a bonus from the actual story jobs. So our next story job is going to be a, what's that? That's going to be Mitsubishi Lancer. Is that what that is? It looks like well, it could be a Lancer or it could be a Toyota Supra. Or sorry, Supra. Jeez. Sorry. I don't know why I said Supra. That was stupid of me. What's that other rally car? Because you got the Mitsubishi and then you've got the Subaru. That's it. Yeah, the freaking Subaru. It could be a Subaru as well. But yeah, anyway, like I said, that is going to be it though. So I do hope you enjoyed. Oh, and before you go, I'd like to give a huge shout out and thank you to all of the investors you can see on your screen right now. Seriously, thank you. You guys are awesome. It is much appreciated. And until next time, I guess it's a goodbye.